Hello and welcome to A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. Well, some are calling it legalized discrimination, but supporters say it helps relieve a growing crisis of foster care and families who want to adopt. In Texas, lawmakers are mulling over an adoption bill giving state-funded public and private agencies the ability to reject placing children in certain homes if they have religious objections. Parents seeking adoption could be ruled out if they're gay, single, interfaith, or other religions. Here to debate, Christopher Hale, Executive Director of Catholics in Alliance for the Common Good, and Ferrell, Tata, author of Great Worth. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry, Ann Ferrell, it's Tata. I'm sorry very much.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. Well, I wanted your reaction, both of your reactions to this bill, because this is modeled after the South Dakota law, which basically says that no child placement agency may be required to provide service that conflicts with its sincerely held religious belief or moral convictions. And there are similar bills in the works in Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Michigan, North Dakota, and Virginia. Chris, I want your reaction first. What's your reaction to this bill?
You know, I think from a legal perspective, it's a question between the First Amendment, which is freedom of religion, and the 14th Amendment, which is equal protection under the law. I think from a legal construct, they're actually on somewhat good footing here, as long as couples or people seeking adoptions can go to other places within the state. But I got to say from a religious perspective, I think we're on treading in difficult water here. Do Christian organizations truly want to discriminate against same-sex couples, against single parents, etc.? This is a question of going forward of ought versus can. Legally, they can do it, but ought they do it? I think that's a compelling question. We're looking at faith communities dwindling in this country. We need to be as inclusive as possible. I'm not sure this is the way to do it.
Okay, and Ferrell, what is your reaction to this bill?
Well, I think, you know, the focus is on the wrong person. I think the focus needs to be on the mother. And this is a mom. Think about it. She's already had a choice. She could choose to have the baby or not, and she decided to have the baby. And I think we need to support her and respect her opinion about what she wants to do after she carries the baby 9 months to term, and she should definitely have a say in who's going to raise that baby. And if she chooses specific parents with parameters that, you know, are in line with her beliefs, I just think we should come beside her and applaud her and allow her to make that decision.
You know, Christopher, this is interesting because, you know, don't you think the religion part of the parents is really kind of a red herring? I mean, it's really a smokescreen. This is really about rejecting same-sex parents because, remember, Catholic Charities and Illinois had to pull out of the adoption business because they refused to, you know, consider same-sex parents as equal to heterosexual parents. I mean, do you agree or not?
Yeah, I mean, we see that also in Boston and here in D.C. as well, this great question of should Catholic institutions be required by the government to adopt the same-sex couples. Once again, I think legally, there is a lot of room to say that the Catholic Church should have the right to choose who the parents are of the children they adopt. Here's my issue, though. Once again, as a Roman Catholic, as someone who values his faith so much, we do not serve people because they're Catholic, but because we're Catholic. And I think there has to be a question from the faith community as promoting our faith values. Even though the government gives us a right to discriminate, ought we? Should we? I think it is a dangerous trek. So I don't doubt the legality of this move. Only on questions of receiving government funding, I think that becomes more complicated. But I question the Christian morality of not adopting the same-sex couples.
Well, but Christopher, I have to stop you there because, you know, if the Catholic Church believes what the Bible says is that children deserve a mother and a father, how is that somehow immoral?
Well, you know, so obviously the Catholic Church does believe in traditional marriage, believes that marriage is between one man and one woman. But look, the reality of it is Catholics grow up in complex marital situations all the time. 1 in 3 Catholic children grow up in single-family households. Does that ruin the ability of the child to receive an education in the faith of Jesus Christ? The question, once again, is on the child. And the data says that really there are multiple arrangements that the child can flourish in. So we can, on one hand, proclaim this idea that marriage is between one man and one woman in a sacramental context, but acknowledge that our people grow up in diverse settings, and they can flourish as Christians or as secular people within society.
Okay, and Ferrell, I want to get your take on this because, you know, the larger picture here is that we have competing rights. We have religious freedom rights versus civil rights. And does the government have a right to dictate to a religion what is right or wrong?
Well, again, I think it really does depend on the issue, but on this specific issue, I just think that we have to respect, just like, you know, for a woman that decides to, you know, abort the baby, we have to respect her right as the law of the land right now. And I just think that for a mom, when it comes to carrying a baby 9 months to term, I mean, it has to be for any young woman in this predicament just an agonizing decision. And I just think we have to respect and allow her to make that decision. I just think that, you know, the government shouldn't tell her where her baby needs to, where she envisions her baby growing up. And you know, to Christopher's point, I definitely think we need to be out there for other, you know, issues and other opportunities to help. But when it comes to placing a baby up for adoption or foster care, I just think that we have got to stand behind these moms and allow them to choose where they see fit that child should be raised. All
right, I want to thank you so much, Christopher and Ferrell, for being here. And please check out my new book, Lighthouse Faith, God as a Living Reality in a World Immersed in Fog. I'm Lauren Green. If you want to check out more news headlines, check out foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green. Thanks for watching A Spirited Debate.